guys, it's Caleb from Rokblokz. Today we managed to squeeze in this Winnebago Revel. We got a new mud flap kit for it, so let's go ahead and show you how to install it. Here we have the tools laid out that you'll need for install. We've got a 10mm on a large extension and a ratchet. We have a box 10mm wrench. We have our tool here with a 4mm Allen, and then you'll need a T25 Torx, a 4mm Allen. We've got a couple of variations of it, and a level. Here we have the front laid out, what you'll get in your kit. For this corner, you'll get your mud flap, and then you'll get the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. In your hardware kit, you'll get an extra bracket, a couple of screws, a couple of lock nuts, and a couple of washers. That is for the etched hole here, which is an optional hole to drill and support into the liner. We won't be installing with that today. We'll just be installing with the 3 main points. So just so you're aware, you will get that extra hardware. If you end up using it, perfect. If not, don't worry. Now let's head to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the front of the vehicle. We're going to begin by removing the OEM points along the fender's edge here and here, and then the nut on the inner bracket down on the bottom here. We've already loosened ours, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take that plastic nut and set that to the side. We're going to be reusing the factory hardware. Now that we've got that out of the way, with some of the popular fender trimming kits and high clearance kits that replace this or chopping it, if you still have the 2 factory mounting points, you're able to use the kit. If you chop off the lower one, you may need to use the bracket provided instead of on the 3rd or on the 4th location on the flap. You could use it and drill through the side here to make a mounting point for the upper 2 brackets again. But those we won't be able to show. We've just got a factory vehicle here, and we will be using it for the clearance. So now we're going to begin by mounting our L bracket on the bottom post here with that plastic nut. So let's go ahead and hop down there and get that mounted. Now we're under the vehicle. We're going to take our L bracket, we're going to slide it onto the post, we're going to take our plastic nut, and we're going to secure that with the L bracket facing towards the tire. And we'll take our 10mm and get that going. We'll snug that down. With that in place, we can now work our way up the fender and mount the other 2 brackets. Now that we've got the bottom mounted, we're going to take our Z brackets and mount that to the 2 mount points in the fender. I'm just going to reuse the OEM screws. Get those started by hand. We don't want them tight right now until after we get the flap mounted and fitted, and then we'll be able to kind of adjust them and get them into position to align holes. So now with all our brackets in place, we're going to take our flap and we're going to put it in front of that bottom bracket and behind the upper brackets. Then we're going to take our button head screws, take one of them, and I'm just going to start with this middle mounting point here. I'm going to place a small washer on the back side with a lock nut. I'll get that started by hand. And then I'm going to repeat that for the upper hole. Going into the slot on our bracket here. And then a lock nut. And then for the inner mount hole, I'm going to take our button head, put it through a large washer, and then I'm going to, it's a bit tight, so we're going to work it in to the bracket, and then I'm going to slide the washer up onto the screw, and then I will work the lock nut in between. And when I get that all set, then I'll just get that started by hand. And on that inside, that's where we'll be using the box wrench to tighten that up. So now we can go ahead and we're going to take our 4mm. I'm just going to start with the middle here. Get that snugged up just a bit. And we'll just do it in stages, kind of snugging them down, going to the next hole, getting them snug. Then we'll get our final position and fully tighten all the hardware. Now we're going to go ahead, get that snugged up to the body. We can switch over to our T25 Torx. I'm going to lock the brackets down. With those brackets locked down, I'll switch back to my 4mm, and I will go ahead. I'm just going to start with this top one. Get that fully secured to the bracket. Middle one. While you're adjusting, if you want to check along the bottom with a level to make sure it looks good, or you can just kind of take a step back, make sure it looks good to you, and then fully tighten all the screws down. And now, if you were wanting to use that extra hardware provided, you would have pre-drilled the hole that was etched on here, and you can drill up into your liner here and put that 4th L bracket, or you can use it as your lower mounting point here by simply drilling a hole, mounting it there, and then mounting this with a bolt to it. So that is how you complete the front install, and you can repeat these same steps on the other side. Now let's go ahead and jump to the rear. Here we have the rear laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your flap for that corner, your main mounting bracket, and the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Before we head to the vehicle, we're going to pre-assemble our bracket with our clips. So we're going to take it, and the side that is protruding, we're going to put that so that it's on the same side as the flanges are poking, just like so. So the face remains nice and flat. So just going to clip those into the 4 holes right there. Now we're good to head to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the rear of the vehicle. We're going to begin by removing the factory mud flap. If it's not present, then you'll just want to remove the 2 screws from here. And if there's no rear screw or rear nut on this upper stud, then you'll be fine. So now we're going to remove that rear nut. Then we'll set that to the side. Now we're going to remove the 2 screws here, which you've already pre-loosened. These are the T25 Torx. Then you can go ahead and wiggle your mud flap and set all the hardware and the mud flap to the side. Now that's going to expose your stud here, which we're going to use to mount our bracket. And then along this ridge here, it might be a little bit covered, but you'll have a hole that goes through it. That will be our second mount point. So to begin here, we're going to take our M6 clip and we're going to slide it so that the protruded portion or the threaded portion of the U-nut is on the outside here, because we'll be screwing in from that direction. So we're going to put that on, aligning with our hole there. Now we can go ahead and take our mounting bracket, put that up into place. We can slide it up onto the stud with that first one, and then we'll align the slot on the inside here. Now you'll probably need to get underneath the car to be able to see it from the inside here. And we're going to align the slot right here with the clip. And we're going to go ahead and use our M6 button head with a washer and get that started. Take our 4mm Allen, go ahead and just get that going in. Now our bracket is slotted so that you can adjust push it back as far as you want, or pull it out a little further. We're just gonna get it set to sort of a neutral position right now. And then for the top, we're gonna take our lock nut and a washer. We're gonna get that started on that stud. We'll take our extended drive. This is the one that we used to loosen up the nut on that stud before. Go ahead and snug that down. Double check our screw on the side here. And now our mounting bracket is solid. We can come back up. And the idea with this, with having our bracket offset further in and using the spacers, is if you decide to trim, you can either cut your spacers down to bring the flap further back or mount directly to the bracket itself. So now to mount our flap, we're going to pick it up. We're going to take our 40mm M6 bolt, which out of the longer bolts that are provided in the kit, it will be the shortest one, where the full shortest one will be the 16mm that we just used. So then we're going to take it, put it through a washer, and then put a washer on the back side. And for the lowermost hole, we're going to use the shortest 3/4 inch rubber spacer, and then it will be a 1 inch, and then a little bit bigger than a 1 inch. So we'll have the 1 inch here and here. So now that we've got our spacers all organized and our screws will just progressively get longer as we work up the fender and the distance changes. So now we're just going to go ahead and get that started by hand. Working our way up the fender. Next, I like to jump to the inner mount point to make it a little more stable. So we're going to grab our next size bigger screw, which will be the 45mm, a few washers, and a 1 inch spacer. And we'll mount that into that inner mount point right there, getting it started. And now with those two, it supports the flap nice and well. We'll use our next 45mm M6, a washer, and another 1 inch spacer. And we're going to go into the middle hole here. Just kind of flex the flap out of the way. It is much easier if you have the rear tire removed. Can be done with the tire on, but it's usually better to have it off just for extra clearance. Now we can take our longest screw with a washer, placing another washer on the back side and our longest spacer. That's going to go into the upper hole right there. We'll get that started. Now we can basically just go ahead and take our 4mm Allen and begin tightening these down. And that's going to squish and compress the rubber spacers, and then it will start to conform to the fender's edge here, which after you remove the OEM flap, the edge here tends to be a little rough from the factory. But we'll just be able to continue to compress those spacers till our flap conforms to the edge and makes a nice tight fit. Always tighten this inner one last. And as you're doing this, you'll want to check and make any adjustments. You may have to loosen that back up, but you can check along the bottom with a level and make your adjustments, or you can wait till the very end after you've got it back down on level ground. Or you can just do it with your eye and make sure it looks good on the vehicle. That's pretty much what we're doing right now. So, with those all snugged down, like so, you can repeat these same steps on the other side, and that's how you install the rear. Thanks for watching.